Meanwhile, President Biden wrapped up his first overseas trip this week as president. He met with G7 and NATO leaders, signaling China for the first time in the alliance's 72-year history, singling out China. President Biden, along with Russian President Vladimir Putin, also held a summit in Geneva. Cybersecurity was one of the issues discussed, but most people feel that a lot was left off of the table and not much was accomplished. Joining me right now is Alabama Senator, Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committee member Sen Tuberville. Senator, it's great to see you. Your reaction to the trip this week?
Well, we didn't get much done. You know, a lot of big talk before he went over there, no action. There were several gaffes over there that you can just tell the people around him, leaders from the NATO group they're looking, G7 group was just looking around going, you know, what's going on here? But, you know, the problem we're having right now, this guy was elected president of the United States. And the problem with that is he's got his handlers running this country. He can't do anything on his own. And people are losing confidence in him every day. You know, if he wants to go over there, fine. But we spent millions of dollars. And we could have sent a pair of sunglasses and a sheet of paper over there by Amazon and saved a lot of money for the American people.
Well, it certainly gave Russian President Vladimir Putin a real platform. You say you think others are running this policy. More than a dozen Republican House members, led by former White House Dr. Ronnie Jackson, are asking President Biden to undergo a cognitive test. Release the results so that the American people know the full mental and intellectual health of their president, writes these lawmakers. Your reaction?
Well, I don't know whether we need to go that far, but he needs to step out and start doing some press conferences. Let the American people know that he's representing all of us. And you can tell right now, everything's staged. Everything behind the scenes is already charted. There's nothing out there that, you know, we can just, you know, anybody can just ask a question, hey, what are we doing here? And again, it's all about leadership. We don't have leadership right now. We're being led by people from behind the scenes, and American people are going to lose confidence. We're just in the first 5 months of this presidency. It's going to get worse.
It'll get worse in what regard? I mean, we now know President Biden's priorities based on the budget he dropped the other day on the Friday before the long Memorial Day holiday. He told us about his $6 trillion budget, where he's got an increase in EPA spending by 22%, a huge increase in spending on education and the teachers union, but a decline in defense spending. Up 1.6% does not even measure inflation, which is running at 4.5%. So that's a decline in defense spending. No increases in homeland security. These are his priorities as the threats seem to be rising across the world, from Russia, China to Iran and the Middle East.
Well, you know as well as I do, Maria, the border's out of control. We've lost control of the border. The cartel's running the border. We've had hearings this week in the Armed Services Committee about the budget, and all the generals, you know, they back this budget up, but you can tell at the end of the hearings, they always say, you know, we're going to need more. Eventually, we're going to need more. So we'll try to get by this year with this budget in the defense, but we can't keep cutting like this with China spending more, Russia spending more, and we're going the other way. It makes no sense. It really doesn't.
Well, China already apparently has a more quantitative or stronger Navy than the U.S. has. We've got an aging Navy. You're proposing a bill to end the slush fund settlements to far-left groups. Your legislation says that money from settled lawsuits should either go to the victim or the Treasury. Senator, tell us about this, because I know there's a big push from the progressive left to increase spending on their priorities, which are the green economy, among other things.
Well, corruption at its best, Maria, and this has been going on. Obama started this back in his era, where if there was a federal lawsuit, the DOJ would get involved, and basically they would settle this lawsuit, whether I'm talking about big lawsuits, Citigroup, Bank of America, JP Morgan, and they'd go to them and say, listen, you know, we're going to settle this lawsuit. You're going to give some to the Treasury, maybe some to the victim, but some of this is going to go to an outside activist group, and we will count $2 for every dollar you give to these activist groups, and we can't do that. You know, it's against the law. And in Obama's era, he did $668 million to activist groups. And we're getting ready to go into a campaign year. And guess what's getting ready to happen? President Trump stopped this. He said, this is not going to happen. Well, Merrick Garland, Attorney General, now is evaluating this. And you know what's going to happen. They're going to start settling these lawsuits. Money's going to go to activist groups. It's going to get into the campaigns. And it's wrong. It is corruption. And the DOJ all the way through the White House. We can't continue to do this. This is the reason the American people don't trust the federal government or Washington, D.C.
Well, we're also questioning whether or not all these agencies have become politicized. So now also in the Biden budget is this proposal to send $80 billion to the IRS so that the IRS could hire 87,000 new auditors so that they could have access to everybody's bank accounts and see the flows in and out. Are we looking at the IRS being weaponized again, the way we saw under the Obama administration?
Well, there's no doubt about that. We never did anything to Lois Lerner and that group. They're getting all the retirement. They're weaponized. They're going to do the same thing here. This is just another huge tax on the American people. They're going to go after every little dime they can get because they know they can't keep spending money like this without either taxing, get into the IRS, make sure they gather more taxes. It is just a tax on the hardworking American people. And I'm telling you, as I said earlier, people are going to get sick of this. And it's just something that's going to build and build in this administration.
All right, Senator, we'll be watching. Thanks very much, Senator Tommy Tuberville. Thank you for joining us.